Welcome to CDL Flashcards. This audiobook was intended for you to learn to practice for your test, whether you've taken it before or this is your first time. We have a number of suggestions about how you can best do it, and we'll go into that in the introduction. Do remember that when you use an audiobook, one of the advantages is you can skip between tracks. So if you find an area more difficult than others, you can skip to that one. Or if you find one easy, you can skip over it. The three basic rules about passing a test, it applies to the CDL as well as any other test. The first thing is to stay relaxed. Just as in driving, a relaxed driver is a good driver, and a relaxed test taker is a good test taker. The second rule is put your best foot forward. This was told to me by a professor at Harvard Business School, John Hammond, when I was in my first year. And I thought it was an extremely good idea I hadn't heard before. In other words, all we can do is what we can do. Put your best foot forward, do your best, and move on. Third is to practice in advance. Repetition is the mother of learning. Recently, there have been a number of books out about the subject of repetition, practice, learning, and experience, and they all go together. And it's all about, if you've done something many times, you get into the routine of doing it well. This test is no different. This is one reason why Nathan Huckabee, who suggested it to us, a long-distance driver, said he would like to have this on disc form or download so he could listen to it repetitively. And then it would kind of get into his brain and he would know it. He also said that it wouldn't hurt anybody to listen to it once a year because as drivers, you have to take the test every 5 years. All of these ideas work together. Practice is putting your best foot forward and will give you the confidence to relax. So start here practicing with the flashcards to successfully pass your CDL test. Remember that your first thought about an answer is usually your best choice. It's not a perfect choice, it's a better choice. So if in doubt, take the first thought you have. That usually works the best for everyone. At Nathan's suggestion, at the end of the audiobook, we have 3 sections that we think you may find helpful. The first one is a dictionary and definitions, just to go over so you know what some of the words mean. Most of the time, the questions are in the text, but we found it helpful to have a separate section for items that are not in the test. The second part is a list of equipment that's recommended for long-distance drivers and even school bus drivers and people like myself. When I took the test for short hauls around town, I was working for Xerox at the time in the summer, and I had to pass my test in order to drive around town. And even though I wasn't a long-distance driver, I could have used this list, and I didn't have it. The third appendix is just common sense rules. I've discerned and put together a list of these from various documents, trucker writings, and motor vehicle bureaus. It would have been very helpful to me to have this list, and I think this is useful just to remind us. It's a little bit like going to training camp. If the great quarterbacks can go to training camp for 20 years in a row, it doesn't hurt us who have to get our licenses and renew them to go over the same kind of fundamentals as football players do. This track is about how your CDL can help you. We all know the direct, obvious ways. If you want to be a long-distance trucker, if you're working for a company that requires one to drive locally, if you're a school bus driver, and there are other direct ways that it helps you. This track is about some of the subtle ways that it can help you and help your employment, help your income, and generally help you in your overall life. First and foremost, almost every job application has an area for certificates or abilities you have that others don't. So here, if you have a CDL, you can add this to your certificates. This is no small thing. Your CDL can be particularly important when an employer is trying to choose between a variety
Sample complete. Ready to continue?